Amazing. So, yes, thank you everybody for joining. So, I just wanted to give a quick introduction to ethical seafood research. Our mission is to improve animal welfare in the aquatic food sector by developing practical, science-based solutions that really lead to driving institutional change. Uh, but we also focus on some of the most overlooked species in the global food system, some of the most overlooked aquatic species, with a special focus on Africa. So we don't do this by ourselves. We collaborate with renowned institutions and organizations, as well as working on the ground with farmers to improve fish welfare. And we take big pride in being FAI's implementing partner for their Tilapia Welfare project. So we do research and education, and we want to improve the welfare of aquatic animals in Africa and beyond. We're a registered non-profit in the UK, Kenya, Egypt, and Spain. And most of our projects are farmer focused, and so we work on the ground with farmers. And we use several collaborative approaches, one of which is with FAI. And this is the sort of work we do, trying to help people to understand really why they should care about improving tilapia welfare, and then practically how can they go on to do that. So to give us some context and really introduce the webinar today, I'm going to hand over to AquaGrad to just give us a 5 to 10 minute introduction about Nigeria and tilapia and why it's so important that we're here today focusing on Nigerian fish farms. So Gift, I'm not sure who from your team is presenting this section.
All right, thank you once again. Permit me to stand on the existing protocols. I use this medium of time to welcome everybody on this session. This is a collaboration with the AquaGrad initiative and also the Ethical Seafood Research. The AquaGrad initiative ensure that this initiative is actually established tailored to bridge the gap between the industry and the academics, which we have been able, at least, to take a very bold step. And this is one of the advantage. All right. In a few minutes time, I will be speaking on the current status of tilapia farming in Nigeria and why aquaculture and fishery graduates should embrace the tilapia farming. All right. My name is Awuni Akin Joseph. I am the associate founder of AquaGrad initiative. Tilapia farming in Nigeria is a golden opportunity for aquaculture and fishery graduates. Tilapia farming, according to my findings, is rapidly emerging as one of the most promising areas of aquaculture development in Nigeria. As the country population continues to grow, the demand for food protein gets increases. Tilapia production offers a sustainable solution to address the key factor, which is the food security, employment generation, and of course, economic growth. The current status of tilapia farming in Nigeria. Nigeria remains the largest aquaculture producer in sub-Saharan Africa, despite the dominance of catfish and farming. Tilapia production continues to expand due to its high market demand, the excellent feed, and of course, the conversion efficiency and adaptability to various farming systems in our own Nigeria. The consumer are becoming more interested in tilapia farming, even though catfish are saturated the market because of its dominancy. Now, tilapia, because of its white flesh, according to the recent statistics, according to tilapia available statistics in Nigeria, tilapia production produced from about 57,000 metric tons in 2015 to over 67,000 metric tons in 2018. This is showing a significant increase in value. Now to the aquaculture and fishery graduates, the reason why they should embrace tilapia farming, which is the reason why this session is put in place so as to educate us, to enlighten us that there is opportunity in the tilapia farming. As a graduate in aquaculture and fishery, possesses specialized knowledge that gives its competence advantage to the industry rather than waiting solely for the government's employment. Graduate can become a job creator and, of course, through tilapia production and related enterprise. In conclusion, the future of aquaculture in Nigeria is bright, and tilapia farming stands as one of the most promising opportunities within the sector. The aquaculture and fishery graduates are uniquely positioned to lead this transformation through innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustainability of the fish production, which we are, of course, doing today. So as a professional trained in fish production and management, we must move from being job seeker to become an employers, innovators, key contributors to Nigeria food security and economic development. Once again, I want to appreciate everybody for joining us in this space, and of course, the anchor of this program, in person of Mr. Watson and other officials. Your effort is duly recognized. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a really lovely introduction to AquaGrad and why we should all be here today focusing on tilapia welfare. Just to contextualize what you were saying a bit more, if you look here, you can see the growth in Africa for total aquaculture. Nigeria is the second largest, has the second largest growth and is the second largest producer. So really big opportunity to be improving the lives of millions of fish, but also helping thousands of farmers to be more effective, be more efficient, improve food security, improve incomes, and yeah, help grow the ever increasing population that we have in the world. So I will shortly hand over to my colleagues to go through some key tilapia welfare concepts. But quickly before I do, I want just to do a quick poll, getting your opinion about what you think, and let me know if you, about what you think the biggest welfare risk is to your farm. So if you scan that QR code on the screen, or if you're on your computer, you go to slido.com and you put in this code, then we can start to see the answers populate on the screen.
So sorry, Mr. Matthew, I think this polling will be a little bit difficult for most of the people because they are using their phone.
They're using their phone. They should be able to join on the internet, on like Google or something from their phone. It should still be fine. Or maybe people can put their answer in the chat instead if that's easier.
Yeah, that would be better. Thank you.
So far, water quality is coming out on top. I can see a few people typing in the chat what they think the biggest welfare risk is on farm. Just wait a couple minutes just to get some more answers. Water quality again. Water quality and feeding management. So yeah, water quality, big risk. Dissolved oxygen, something that can lead to fish dying quickly. And as my colleagues will go through, chronically sublethal water quality causes large amounts of negative welfare. See feeding management as well. Yes, overfeeding, underfeeding, all of these have very large impacts on fish. There's a couple more people typing. Disease and parasite burden as well, I see. Okay, we're getting quite a mixed range of answers. Let's give it another minute. Water quality, water quality. So far, no one choosing handling and crowding stress or slaughter and harvest practices. Water quality, okay, we'll call that for all of the answers. Interesting. Okay, I'll now pass over to my colleagues and they'll go through all of these various different welfare indicators. So just let me know when you want me to change slides and I can click on the next slide. So Dr. Radi, I believe this is you taking on the section.
Okay, Matthew. Can I share my slides?
Oh, yes, you can share yours. Let me stop sharing mine.
Is this okay? Sharing is okay?
Yep, we can see that fine.
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank FAI and ESR for inviting me for this webinar. Also, thanks for all the people attending this seminar. I think tilapia welfare is a very important issue, especially in Egypt and Nigeria. As Egyptian, I would like to give a brief introduction about the Egyptian aquaculture. Egypt produces around 2.1 million tons from fish every year. About 80% of this amount is produced from aquaculture, around 1.6 million tons. Tilapia representing more than 60% of all production from fisheries and aquaculture. Kafr district, which my university present in, Kafr, producing around 48% of total Egyptian aquaculture and fisheries production. All of this putting Egypt the first country in fish production in Africa and the Middle East, and one of the big producers of tilapia. It is the third country around the world after China and Indonesia. So Egypt is one of the biggest countries producing tilapia worldwide. To save our time, we will talk about the key tilapia welfare concepts: stocking, water quality, health monitoring, handling, and human practice. I think the time is very limited today, and so I will concentrate in stocking, water quality, and health monitoring, and leaving handling and human practice for another webinar, because all of this will bothering us during the main concept of the welfare is the interaction between the production parameters. The production parameters is mainly concerned of production system, formulated feed, fish health and immunity, water quality. All of this are introduced with each other and making a continuous interaction. By the way, I am so sorry, I don't introduce myself at beginning. I am so sorry. I am Radi Ali. I am a professor of fish and animal welfare, Department of Aquaculture, Faculty of Aquatic Science and Fisheries, University of Kafr, El-Sheikh, Egypt. To go through this, we have the bean production system in Egypt, and I think it's worldwide for production of tilapia is the semi-intensive production system. Why semi-intensive production system is very suitable for tilapia production and tilapia welfare? Because it is a very simple operation. Need no more complications like RES, for example. Rely on natural productivity like algae and plankton, which reduce the rely on artificial feed, which is very expensive, especially in Egypt. Moderate stocking densities, which improves the fish welfare during the production cycle. Water exchange is less frequent, not more water needed to be exchanged like RES. Bond-based system, so it is a very low in capital cost. Everyone can perform it. Managemental practice playing a crucial role in the maintaining water quality and fish health in this system. So it is very suitable for producing of tilapia worldwide. To perform semi-intensive system, we should go through the pond preparation, which is a very crucial item during the production. Without pond preparation, the production cycle may be facing a great problem. We receive the pond as the first picture on the left of the screen, which containing an empty pond. The first step, we make desilting, removing the bottom of the ground and make setting up to the deck and the canals, then make fertilization to the soil, then beginning to filling water to the pond. After completing the filling of the water, we add another fertilizer again to the water to improve the production of live food like algae and zooplanktons, which give the water the green color or the bluish color. In this point, we can add the fries to the water. We should select a good quality fry from a good quality source, or if we use fry or fingerling, it should be from a good source. After adding of fries or fingerlings, if the stocking density is high, we can use some aerators or some types of mechanical aeration or changing of the water frequently. The semi-intensive system production is rely on or depend on high stocking density of the fish, artificial feed using, monitoring of the water quality parameters, health monitoring, and disease control. How we can perform this? In the past, as it is present in the picture in the right of the screen, the low stocking density was accustomed in the production in semi-intensive system, which may be integrated with animal production in the same farm using a very big ponds, which may be more than 20 faddan or ak, or maybe more. Lack of aeration supply, using of some types of feed ingredient, not formulated feed. But if you would like to improve your production, you should use automatic feeder to spread the feed all over the largest area of the pond, so give a chance to the fish to reach to the food with equal chance. Using aerators, all of this can improve the water quality and the fish welfare and increasing the stocking density in relation to the elements you provided for the fish in the pond. The second one is the using of artificial feed. Artificial feed is a big problem in Egypt because it representing more than 75% of the total cost of the tilapia production in Egypt. The artificial feed is relied on feed ingredient fish feed formulation, fish feed processing, post-fish feed processing management, fish feed cost and efficiency, gut health, and feed absorption. The feeding ingredient, we use much more ingredients in Egypt, like corn, soybean, chicken meal, rice, polish, fish meal. All of this should be of good quality. Avoid using a bad quality ingredient. The feed ingredient should be sampled and analyzed before using. We can make chemical analysis or chemical composition of all the ingredients first to be sure that all of them are very good for fish. Then make your composition or your fish feed formulation as shown in this picture. This is one of the formulated feed for tilapia containing cod protein 30%, which is very suitable for tilapia growth, containing many additives and many amino acids which fulfill the nutrition of tilapia. One of the most important things that improve the welfare of the fish is the using of the additive. Our using of the additive is very important because it improves the growth performance of the fish. It enhances disease resistance and immune function. It increases the appetite and stimulates the appetite of the fish. So it increases the utilization and the digestibility of the feed, so improving the gut health. Beside all of this, the fish can consume all the feed, so it increases the water quality and reduce the wastes in the pond. At the end, it improves the product quality of the fish. The final product of the fish is the final product of the formulated feed is powdered feed, which is used for fry, or pelleted feed or extruded feed, which is used during the grow-out pond of the fish. Post-fish feed processing management, which is very important. We should make examination of the physical examination of the feed for size, shape, color, stability. All of this should be very suitable for the fish. Also the chemical composition, especially the cod protein and fat percent, to be suitable for the growth of the fish. Post-fish feed processing management, which is very important for keeping high quality feed. The feed should be stored in a very well ventilated area, away from the rodents and direct sunlight, away from water and all of this. So the storage period should not more than 4 to 6 weeks. If you would like to store your feed in the farm, you should store it away from the ponds and should be in a closed place, because good storage resulting in good food and good production. Bad storage resulting in toxic feed and very bad production. Fish gut health and feed utilization. When the fish receives the feed, it is received 100%. 48% is lost during the parenchymal loss, 13% in fecal loss, 9% in urinary loss. So the animal can retain only 30% of the total energy. Improving the gut and the health of the intestine will improve the feed utilization and improve the health and welfare of the fish. So it is very important to save your fish gut healthy to improve the fish feed utilization and then improve the FCR. All of this will impact your production. The very important thing also after artificial feed is water quality. Monitoring of the water quality of the fish is very important issue because fish live in a pool of pathogen. Many microorganisms present in the water. Some of them are pathogenic and some of them are beneficial. So the balance between two of them is very important for the fish. Besides the keeping of the water quality parameter like dissolved oxygen, pH, temperature, ammonia, and unionized ammonia H2S in the pond, the turbidity of the water, all of this will keep your fish healthy and improve the welfare of the fish. During the low dissolved oxygen or changes in the pH and temperature, the fish try to gasping the air from the outside of the water and appear on the surface, suffering from deteriorations in the gills and may be collected around the water inlet source. So, the most important water parameter is total ammonia, nitrogen, and unionized ammonia. Under effect of high stocking density and increasing the amount of the feed and bad water quality, all of them besides the high temperature and low dissolved oxygen, all of them increase total ammonia nitrogen, making a deterioration in the fish gills. The total ammonia nitrogen is composed of two components, NH3 and NH4. NH3 is toxic form, NH4 is non-toxic form. When the NH3 toxic form increased, the fish may gasping and directed to the water inlet source to try to grasp the oxygen and get rid of high ammonia concentration. This is an example about the effect of total ammonia and unionized ammonia. We have two farmers, one of them having pH equal to 8.9, temperature 30, and total ammonia nitrogen 2.1. And the other one, pH 7.8, temperature 26, total ammonia nitrogen 4.3. If we calculate the unionized ammonia or toxic ammonia in both of them, we will find that the first farm containing toxic ammonia 0.81 and the other farm containing toxic ammonia 0.59. So it is not common that when the total ammonia nitrogen is high, it is very dangerous for the fish. But the dangerous one is the concentration of toxic ammonia, not the total ammonia nitrogen. So it is very important to calculate the unionized ammonia and don't rely only on the total ammonia nitrogen when taking the decision to control the ammonia in your pond. Health monitoring and disease control. We should make sampling to the fish every 2 to 4 weeks to see how our fish grows, the health of the fish, presence of any signs of disease or something like this, because all the fish ponds containing the 3 angles of the disease spread: the host, the environmental factor, the fish pathogen. When the host is present and the environmental factor and water quality is deteriorated, the fish pathogen is present in the water, so it's flare up and making a problem to the fish. So keeping your water quality and make frequent sampling will improve your fish health and welfare. If your fish is healthy, it indicates high production. If your fish is diseased, it indicates low production or economic losses. So when you have good production and your fish is not diseased, the producer is very smiley and happy. When he facing a disease problem, he becomes sad and don't know what he can do to overcome this economic losses. So what is the solution? Prevention is better than treatment. Don't leave your fish to die or to become sick. You should prevent the disease by improving your welfare. How to overcome diagnosis of disease, water quality monitoring, treatment of disease, biological control, application of pest management practices. Treatment of disease by using the biological control could be through the using of specific disinfectant, probiotic, immunostimulant, and growth promoter. Farm management and biosecurity by killing of the fish present in the pond after harvesting. You may cultivate your ponds with weight to improve the ground or make reconstruction to the canals, even distribution of the feed for all fish, using disinfection at the entry, cleaning your instrument, frequent changing of the water or using irrigation, using nets on the entrance of the water source, using good feed distribution method by in-demand feeder. Farm management also by keeping the record hand by hand work, not leave the employees or workers work alone. The owner should be hand by hand with them. Regular sampling to ensure that your fish is healthy. Continuous learning, because everything is changing continuously. At the end, fish life in a pool of pathogen, and the prevention is better than treatment. How can we cross this bridge? We can cross from this fish life in pathogen, fish life in pool of pathogen to prevention is better than treatment through a bridge containing the best managemental practice or applying the fish welfare. Beside using immunostimulant, probiotic, phytobiotics, antioxidant, good water quality, using disinfectant, vitamins and minerals, using suitable types of the feed, all of this will improve your health, your fish health and welfare, and improving and increasing your production. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Radi. Oh, I keep raising my hand instead of sending an applause. Let me figure that out. There we are. It was really interesting. And now I'll hand over to my colleague Mohammed to go through some of the benefits of using digital tools and monitoring.
Thank you, Matt. I'll show my screen now and tell me if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see the PowerPoint now.
Okay. Is this okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Matt, for the introduction. Thank you for Dr. Radi for this. He make a great presentation. At the beginning, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mohammed Bakr, aquaculture researcher and the country director at Ethical Food Research. Today, I'm excited to talk about how we can take complex fish welfare science and turn it into practical and operational success for the Nigerian aquaculture sector using 5 innovative digital tools. At the beginning, I'd like to give a description or definition for the digital tools in fish welfare. And they aren't added operational challenges, but are mobile cloud-based solutions built to bring complex research right to the pond side. They replace heavy manuals with real-time actionable data insights. So what exactly do we mean by digital tools? In the past, assessing fish health required heavy manuals or guesswork. But today, our digital solutions, ranging from mobile applications to cloud-connected dashboard, allow farm managers and extension officers to input live observations directly on their phones. A prime example is the Tilapia Welfare App, which instantly converts this raw pond side visual observations into real-time actionable metrics to optimize farm performance. We will talk about that Tilapia Welfare App later. The second digital tool we have, or the Phi Academy platform, which bridges the knowledge gap by offering a free mobile-friendly online platform with bite-sized courses that translate complex aquaculture science into practical steps, empowering farmers and extension officers globally to turn fish welfare into increased farm productivity. To give farmers or the farm operators a complete picture of their stock, the Phi system tracks 28 welfare indicators, which can be divided into 4 main domains, as we can see on the screen. The 4 main domains for welfare indicators: nutrition, health, behavior, and environment. But before we deep into these indicators, I'd like to show how to differentiate between direct and indirect indicators, where direct indicators can be observed on the fish itself, such as the most of health indicators like gills, eyes, skin, spines, etc. Unlike indirect indicators that can be observed in the environment where the fish live. Let's look closer at nutrition and behavior. In Nigeria, feed represents up to 7% of farms' operational costs by tracking digital indicators like feed conversion ratio, feeding frequency, and foraging behavior. And farmers ensure they aren't throwing expensive crude protein into the water to sit at the bottom. For example, at the behavior indicators, if the digital tracking shows fish are sluggish or taking too long to consume the feed, it's a behavior indicator telling you to stop feeding and check your water first. As an indicator of behavior or foraging behavior in the feeding duration, or how many time or how many minutes the fish take to consume all feed, we can get a score for the feeding amount needed for the fish. For physical health and environment, the tools prompt farm-owned operators to quickly grade visible conditions like gill health, skin lesions, and fin erosion during routine sampling. At the same time, we track 10 environmental factors, including dissolved oxygen, pH, temperature, nitrite, total ammonia, and so on. This is highly relevant for climate resilience in Nigeria, helping farmers monitor and react digitally to sudden water changes caused by intense rainy seasons or seasonal temperature drops. At the health indicators shown in the screen, we have like main 9 indicators as health indicators, as follow: eye, jaws and lips, operculum, gills, skin, ectoparasite, spine, fins, and mortality. And each life cycle of the fish contains some indicators for health or for the 4 domains of the welfare indicators. And the screen showed the health indicators for the whole tilapia cycle, life cycle. We have more than the 9 indicators, but if we see the sexual maturity or the fetal period, this is specified for the hatchery, not the grow out in the ponds. And also the environmental indicators such as I mentioned, temperature, pH, transparency, dissolved oxygen, alkalinity, and so on. And most of this or this 9 are essential for the grow out, but there are another indicators which can be used in the different life cycles in tilapia. By digitalizing these specific parameters, Nigeria farmers transition from reactivity crisis management to proactive water quality control, saving fuel and feed. This structured data feedback loop prevents toxic ammonia spikes and oxygen crashes, ensuring a stable high-yield environment throughout changing season. And here is the 3 levels scoring system used for welfare assessment and Tilapia Welfare App, where we can see it colored with blue, gray, and red color. I will talk about them later, the slide again. And this brings us to talk about the Tilapia Welfare again, as this brings us to the first tool, Tilapia Welfare App. This is a completely free smartphone-based application that acts as digital diagnostic assistant. It guides the user step by step through the entire life cycle, from breeding in the hatchery to grow out and final slaughter. It replaces paper clipboards with a cloud-connected dashboard that saves and maps your farm's healthy history automatically. We made sure this app is simple for anyone to use. When a farmer enters data, our algorithm automatically applies a clear 3-level scoring system. The scoring system, our 3 levels scoring system, we can see at the second right from the left, the temperature and oxygen in the blue color, and the blue color is referred to the score 1, which means everything is good, and the range or the measurements of the water quality or any indicator is at its optimum level. And at the same screen, we can see the transparency and salinity in the gray color, which indicate that the score 2 in the gray color is your early warning signal. It means that the fish are experiencing mild stress, giving you a vital window to adjust parameters before a disease hits. And pH colored in red, which is score 3 in the red color, means critical danger and high mortality risk requiring immediate intervention. It takes the guesswork completely out of the pond management. But what happens when the app gives you a gray or red alert? This is where our second tool comes in, and it is the FI e-learning platform. This platform, or the FI's Academy, is a cloud-based interactive educational platform accessible via mobile or desktop. It offers free self-paced courses on nutrition, health, and water management. It allows busy farmers and extension workers to learn at their own pace. And the real world proof is undeniable. 97% of learners who completed these modules reported that using these digital welfare indicators directly improved their overall farm productivity and bottom line. And as a conclusion, digital tools are changing the face of global aquaculture, and they hold the key to unlocking higher efficiency, better feed conversion ratio, and stronger profits for Nigerian tilapia farms. And at the end, I invite all of you to download the app, explore the free e-learning platform, which is fully accessible in English, and get certified. Let's work together to put welfare science into practice. And I'm finished, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Again, another great performance. I managed to send the applause correctly this time instead of raising my hand. And just before I hand over to the wonderful FAI, I just want to go through some case studies of how a couple of years ago we collaborated with the FAI digital monitoring tool, and the benefits that that the farmers experienced. So let me know if you can see my screen. Someone give me a thumbs up if they can see my screen. Yeah, I see nods and thumbs. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So in 2024, Ethical Seafood Research partnered with FAI to bring the Tilapia Welfare App to the Egyptian aquaculture sector. 1,000 different farms of various sizes were identified and visited repeatedly to carry out regular welfare assessments using the application. So for each visit, the team would explain to the farmer just basically how to use the app and then how to interpret the welfare score. And as Mohammed said, once you know what the score is, you can then do the work to rectify that. So we weren't telling them what to do or how to manage their farms, but rather by having these digital tools and this continuous monitoring, the farmers were better able to see what was happening on their own farms, and then they were able to come to a decision about what the best next steps were to improve the areas that needed improving. So just want to give you an example of some of the trends. So you can see at the bottom here, the scores were much lower than they were at the top. So after multiple visits, the scores increased. So in one of these cases, the score was due to changes in feeding practices, and the other was due to an improvement in water quality. But these are just individual scores. If we look at the overall scores across the 1,000 farms, you can see that the average score, let me go on to the correct screen, the average score increased starting from around 47% up to over 60% at the end. Go back to my screen. So regarding the environmental scores, one thing that the team realized is that the water quality can fluctuate quite quickly in the ponds, especially during the peak seasons when it gets hot. So if there's no regular monitoring, this can be an issue because it can cause all of these welfare issues that are being unnoticed. So in the study, the main issues identified was poor dissolved oxygen levels, high ammonia concentrations, and fluctuating temperatures. And many of the farmers lacked access to water quality testing tools. So they were relying solely on visual indicators or their anecdotal knowledge. So almost all of the water quality assessments were performed by the Ethical Seafood Research team, as not many farmers could do that themselves because they didn't have the tools. Some variables, such as pH, were harder to change, but other factors like dissolved oxygen were easier to change. There's the example on the screen. This farmer was filling up their pond with water from an underground well that supplied the farm. And at first, the dissolved oxygen level was very low and the nitrite level was very high. So they were scoring only 48% because the water quality was not that good. And so the team provided the farmer with a water quality monitoring tool, a kit. And by having access to that, the farmer was able to change how he was doing things and decided to try pumping water into his pond from a different source. So instead of the underground well, he was pumping it from the irrigation canal, which led to a rise in dissolved oxygen the week after. And at the same time, the levels of nitrite were dropping as well. So you can see this increased score goes from 48% to 52% after making some of those changes. And again, the following assessment the next week, the score continued to increase. So without having this initial score and realizing there was an issue, the farmer wouldn't have been in a position to think about how he can change what he's doing in order to improve the score. improve the health of the fish, and improve his operations. I'll also go through an example of nutrition. So in this example, the farmer was initially feeding less than 2% of the biomass in his ponds instead of the recommended 6%, because the farmer was in the grow out stage at that point. The underfeeding gave them a low nutrition score. But seeing that on the app, the farmer gradually increased the feed amount to 5% of biomass, which then increased the overall score from 50 to 52% and then to 57%. Then the farmer increased the feeding frequency to more than twice per day, which is more in line with best practice, and that led to an even better score of 59%. So this really illustrates how making changes in practices based on recommendations from the app can improve farm productivity and fish welfare. And whenever we're working on something, we need to be using data and evidence to inform our decisions, and having a digital monitoring tool makes that much easier. So I just wanted to also include this. This shows the behavior scores, and again, starting at an average of around 60, 70, at 62, then rising to 93 at the end. So I know we're a bit tight for time, so I won't go too much into it, but you can see how using these tools improves the welfare of the fish and the farm productivity and finished product quality. So I will end my slides there. I think we're a bit tight for time, so I will hand over to the FAI team. I just want to give another thank you to Dr. Radi and Mohammed, and a pre-thank you to the FAI team for what I know will be a fantastic presentation from them.
Thank you, Matthew, and everyone on the team. Thank you for everyone joining. I guess you can see my screen. If so, just give me a shout. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much for presenting so well what FAI has been doing. So I feel like I have the need to present who is FAI and what and who we are overall. We are a consultancy company, but the people we are and the people we work with, we are farmers, not only tilapia farmers, but shrimp farmers also of livestock. We are animal scientists. We work with researchers. We work, for instance, with Professor Radi in Egypt as an example from the university. We also have on the team software developers to be able to develop the FAI Tilapia Welfare App that Matthew just showed some examples, and Mohammed showed you how it works. And we partner with corporations, and our aim is to develop better food systems for people, animal, and the planet. We work with data, we work with training, and we work, as I mentioned, not only with the aquatic and the aquaculture sector, but also with the livestock sector, with poultry, with cattle, and we have the tools to analyze data. And we also, one of our big in development areas is on building capacity, building human capacity, and people that are trained and can better manage the animals that they work with. We are based in, our headquarters are in Oxford, but Murilo will be speaking just next after me. Is our CEO is based in Brazil, for instance, and we collaborate in other countries, in Honduras, in Central America, but of course I also mentioned Egypt, but also in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand. We also have collaborations in New Zealand, and we work with everyone within the supply chain. We work with the farmer, with the producers. We work with all around the supply chain, from the production. We work with transport companies, slaughterhouses, processing, packaging, hospitality in the food sector, food brands and retailers, NGOs and certifications, some names that you may recognize. McDonald's comes to mind, KFC comes to mind. But we also, on the basis of everything we do, is solid science research. So we work with academics, from different universities in different countries. And the reason why we're here today is that we truly believe that although technology, digital tools is fundamental these days to improve and innovate the farms and the farming and all the food supply system, in reality, nothing is possible without having trained people, everyone within the supply chain that is professional and understand the system and the tools that they are working with. This is fundamental for the growing of the aquaculture industry in a sustainable manner. We also would like to demonstrate that good welfare benefits everyone. It benefits people, animals, and the sustainability of our planet. And of course, technology contributes to implementing. And as Matthew showed you and Mohammed showed you with the Tilapia Welfare App, this is a technology. It's a digital tool, an application that you can use, and then it should be, and it is, as Matthew demonstrated, being implemented. And once it's well implemented, it has good outcomes. I wanted to ask something first, which is a big question, which I want to start from the beginning, which is animal welfare. And I think we need to consider, what do farmed animals need to live and grow in a farming environment? We don't have much time for everyone to answer this question, but I think most of you, if you think what do they need, and reflecting on what we've seen here today, especially presented by Professor Radi, we have probably no doubts that it doesn't matter if it is a tilapia or a shrimp or a cow or a chicken, they all need good nutritious feed. They all need to have access to this good nutrition and feed. They all need a good environment to thrive. In the case of fish, that is a good water quality. In the case of tilapia, we know they are tropical freshwater fish. They need to have a good and appropriate optimal temperature, because they're tropical. They like warmer conditions, but not too high. The oxygen levels should be optimal. pH, ammonia, everything that we've mentioned earlier. And then they also need to have an appropriate behavior. They need to be able to swim. They need to be able to have access to food and to be able to feed at their own will. And of course, they need to be healthy. So these are the basic, what we've been discussing here, the domains of good welfare, which is in nutrition, health, behavior, and the suitable habitat, which we think it's what we call in the welfare domain environment. Now, what most people forget when we ask this question, what tilapia or any animal needs to grow, live and grow in a farming environment, what we usually forget is the people that need to take care of all these conditions. They need to be able to provide a good environment and to monitor that water quality. They need to provide the nutritious feed to the animals. They need to monitor the health and keep them healthy. And they should also be able to analyze the behavior to be able to prevent some potential issues. So we really do think that regardless of the animal, be it tilapia or shrimp, as it is demonstrated in the image, good animal welfare starts with people. So we highly recommend that you make sure that your people, your team, your farmers know what good welfare looks like. And we started, as you've seen, you've seen that the FAI Tilapia Welfare App, Mohammed mentioned the online tools that you have access to, but it started with reviewing papers, so on solid scientific grounds. It's not based on what we think animal welfare is, or not on opinions or judgments or ideology. It's based on science. We reviewed the science. We worked with animal scientists. They created the welfare assessment protocol, and then they published a scientific publication about this protocol. These are the scientific papers. It started in 2020 with on-farm welfare assessments. And then we moved on and created welfare tools and indicators throughout the entire life cycle of tilapia, and maybe there'll be a new publication this year. Of course, scientific papers is not what I've never met a farmer that they shouldn't really. start reading scientific publications in English. Most of the tilapia farmers are not in English-speaking countries, and language is very difficult. So what we did was translating the language, the difficult language to begin with, the scientific language, into something accessible, and then we also translated to the farmers' languages. So you will have access, and probably most of you have already received an email with access to a full training on tilapia welfare, which has 6 courses. I will show them shortly. And we created these courses that are freely available. They are online. Anyone can join as long as they have an email. And we did this for tilapia, shrimp, but also grass carp welfare. And then, of course, training is very good for you to understand the importance of the temperature and the relation of temperature and how you should be better managing feed or oxygen. And then we have the Tilapia Welfare App, which will provide you, once you do the assessments of the welfare of the fish, once you collect that data, as Mohammed and Matthew showed you about temperature, the pH, the Tilapia Welfare App will tell you if this is within the range for the tilapia to grow and be healthy and thrive, or if they're being challenged and they're being stressed and maybe something should be done. So the Tilapia Welfare App allows you to have data, solid data, that provides you that information about the welfare of the animal. It also provides you some general guidelines, what you could be doing to improve the growth of the animals and their welfare. We did all this. It's freely available to anyone, not only farmers. Anyone can have access to the online courses and the Tilapia Welfare App in the countries where it is available. We thought this was not sufficient, because even though farmers, for instance, can have a certificate of completion of the online courses, they can start using the Tilapia Welfare App on their operations. We thought they should be recognized for their efforts. And then we created what we call the FAI welfare badges. And I would like to illustrate this as a next level of a digital tool. In this case, not necessarily, it's to recognize, it's not necessarily to improve the farm itself, but to recognize that the farmers and the farming is being improved. There is a recognition there that we are doing our best, so farmers are doing their best to improve production and improve the welfare of the animals. But I think it's very important at this time that we just define what is animal welfare, because we haven't decided what it is. According to the World Organization for Animal Health, animal welfare means the physical and mental state of an animal in relation to the conditions in which it lives and dies. I'd like to say, in general terms, is that animal welfare is how the animals are doing given the conditions they have to grow, given the water quality they have, given the feed they have, given the attention to their health they have. And this is a state that goes through all the way during their life and as they die. That's why we discuss sometimes welfare at slaughter. And when we mention welfare domains and indicators, a welfare domain is nutrition, for instance. And the indicator is how much feed am I feeding this animal at this specific life stage? Because the animals at different life stages, they have different needs. So, for instance, I need to eat 2% of my biomass at least twice a day. Could be, if the animal could speak, could be one of their needs. And this is the amount of feed. But we also need to understand the amount of feed and the frequency in feed, because you're saying they need it at least twice a day. If I consider health, a fish needs to have their fins healthy and fully integer so that they can swim. They need to have their eyes in optimal condition so they can see. They need all their body to be able to grow and thrive. The environment, we've mentioned about this. It's not easy. If I ask the question, how are the animals doing? It's not easy to answer that question directly. They can't talk to us. So we need to find indicators, these diagnostic indicators, to tell us what are they doing okay? Are they in good welfare? Are they well? Or maybe they're not so well. And Mohammed mentioned this, the 1, the 2, and the 3. This is a scoring system that Mohammed was saying about the blue color signifying a good welfare. The gray color signifying tolerable welfare. Tolerable means that the fish are in some ways challenged so that it can compromise their growth. They may not die, but somehow they're in a stress condition, stress situation that is not optimal, and they will not grow as they could potentially grow. And if there is a critical welfare, well, then they are being challenged so badly that they may actually, you may observe mortalities. This is what it means. So the combination of looking at the pH, is the pH really not optimal to the species? It's really critical, and the temperature is also at a critical level. The oxygen is really low. Is this going to compromise the life of the animals and can actually generate mortality? The combination of all these indicators and how far away are they from the optimal levels for the animal allows us to give us a general idea if the animal is in good welfare, tolerable, or critical welfare state. And good welfare is definitely good to the fish. And we need to know their needs according to different life stages. As I mentioned, you're not going to feed the same thing to a larvae that you'll do to a broodstock animal. And we need to know their needs, and their needs, they change. Fingerlings, they may say, if I was a fish, if I could be a fish. And like in the films and stories where animals can speak, I would say if I'm a fingerling, 4.5 grams, I need to eat at least 3 times a day. But if I'm a broodstock, I would say I need to eat at least 2 times a day. And this is the nutrition welfare domain. In terms of environments, these fish live on tropical waters. They need 24 to 31 degrees Celsius. They need well oxygenated water, and that means above 60% of oxygen saturation. They also, if I was a fish, I would say I want to have healthy fins so that I can swim. I need to have a normal mouth and jaw so that I can eat. And I need to be healthy so that I can grow. And I need to be able to eat in my own time and swim at my own leisure. I don't want to suffer during my life or when I'm about to die. This is what we call the behavior domain. Now, this is from an animal perspective. These animals are going to be profit for the farmer so long that it's going to be profitable, because what I've put into this fish, then I can come out of a profit because they had a good production. And all this is fundamental to have a good production. So we need to recognize what welfare looks like, and if it is good, moderate, or critical. That's what we try to do with the online courses that we have available and that Mohammed mentioned. And we need to start with this. We need to start with the training because, first of all, the farmers need to recognize what good welfare means. If you can look at your screens and look at these 3 tilapias, there are different tilapias, I have no doubts that you can recognize which fish have a good welfare score, in this case for the operculum, and which don't. Operculum is fundamental to protect the gills. The gills is fundamental to get oxygen from the water. If I don't protect the gills, the animals will be in a very fragile situation. If there is something compromising the gill development, there's something really wrong. This is, of course, a health indicator. And if I had to score them, knowing that score 1, the blue score that you've seen, what we categorize, symbolize as blue, and it means good welfare, I'm pretty sure that most of you would probably say that the fish that has a good operculum health score, score 1, would be the animal on the left. And of course, the animal on the further right is the animal that is showing a really poor welfare score for the gills. So if 1 is a normal reference value for a specific parameter, that will be, in this case, we are talking about the operculum. That's the left fish here. The fish in the middle that you can see, there is a bit of tissue missing here. Therefore, you have a bit of the gills exposed. This is score 2. It's tolerable by the fish, but not ideal. It can impact productivity, especially if there are other things that will impact on this fish. Of course, this fish number 3, there is no operculum. So this is very critical. So in our scoring system, which is fundamental to start with, scoring system, because that's what we'll see in the app. Each assessment that you do at the farm, which will be a combination of assessing the different indicators of water quality, also the health, you'll need to be able to look at the fish and understand, are the eyes looking healthy? Is it a score 1? Is it 2? Or is it 3? Are the fins looking healthy? is the operculum, the gills, the mouth, all of this, the skin, are this in good welfare. So the farmer will need to identify this and recognize it. So as I mentioned here, level 1, it's the reference level for optimal. Level 3, it's an increased deviation from the optimal, and in this case is critical. I want to bring the case that good animal welfare is not only good to the fish, it's good to the economy. Because if you have good welfare, your animals will have a better growth. They will have higher survival rates. There will be a reduced cost because you will be monitoring the feed closely and you'll be able to manage. Because if you understand that the temperature is not appropriate, we may need to change the feeding because animals may not be feeding as much. This will, of course, represent a higher product quality, a higher value product also, and will most probably allow you to expand to new markets. So therefore, there is a very good business case for good welfare. Because if you have animals that are always challenged, if you have animals that will need big interventions from the veterinary services, that will need frequent antibiotics and management of other diseases, they will have a slower growth rate, they will have higher mortality rates, and you will have higher losses, of course, a lower product quality, and there will be not added value to the products. So there is a lost opportunity to expansion. So basically, good animal welfare practices are good husbandry practices that go along with the fish needs, the needs for them to be to grow healthy and in a productive environment. So good welfare, as I mentioned, is good to the economy, and it's good to us all. I'm going to introduce the One Health, or what I like to expand it to One Welfare concept, which is that all of us are interconnected. The animals that we grow for food production, or not even any other animal, us as humans that live in the same ecosystem, in the same environment, we are all interconnected, and the sustainability and the well-being of all these systems, the animals that live around us and that we produce, the environment that fulfills the needs of us all and ourselves, are all interconnected, and that's why we need to take in consideration all these 3 levels and implement best practices. I wanted to highlight the Tilapia Hub. You have access to all this. It's free agents to highlight. This is a tool, a process that we're using to recognize good welfare and businesses that take that lead on good welfare. It starts with compliance training. So we invite companies to take our Tilapia Welfare Indicators Foundation course for all. You have all been registered to this course, and if you haven't done it so far, I recommend you to do it. You've also been registered to 5 other courses that you can do at your own leisure. And we are providing compliance training that qualifies the companies for the Tilapia Welfare trained badges. So it's not only one person doing a course and having a certificate. If a company is onboarded to do this online courses, the company itself, the production company, not only the production company, if retailers want to do our courses, they can have a Tilapia Welfare Trained badge, which recognizes that they are committed to welfare. And of course, if you really want to go the next step and implement welfare, we recommend you to use the Tilapia Welfare App, and for companies to do so and do regular assessments. Matthew showed something very important, which was the regular assessments that allow you to make decisions and improve. So we recommend once a week to do the assessments, at least to 10% of your ponds, your tanks, and this needs to be continuous. There is no point of just checking the welfare once, because as I mentioned before, welfare is a state. It depends on the conditions, and the conditions change on a daily basis actually. So you need to continuously assess what is the environment, what are the animals doing with that environment, with the conditions they have. So the Tilapia Hub is for everyone, of course, farmers and hatcheries to begin with, but also processors, that they can access this practical training and tools to embed welfare in everyday operations. It's also for retailers and buyers to support the farmers and to share welfare language and expectations in using this this technology that we have in our practical resources. And it's also for technology and tech providers that can use the Tilapia Hub and they can share their tools. We are sharing the tools we have. For the Tilapia Hub, we share the Tilapia Welfare App. For the Shrimp Hub, we have a collaborated that has another app. The Tilapia courses, you can access these. I can quickly just show you. Let me see if I can. For some reason, my keyboard is not working. Apologies for that. But I will send you all the details. You have the details. You've all received an email to access the Tilapia Welfare Training Program for the AquaGrad. And if you were a company and if you work with companies, you can also suggest the Tilapia Welfare Badges systems. You individually are going to get a certificate. If companies go through the first level of training, they will get the first, because they're building skills, and they get Tilapia Welfare trained. And then when they start using the Tilapia Welfare app, they get the Tilapia Welfare assessed. This is the companies what they will get. You will get in your own place, in your own system, a certificate. The companies, they get these badges. They also get a certificate to certify that they have been trained. In this case, we already have some companies that are going through our training and using the Tilapia Welfare app. Some of them are in Thailand, many are in Brazil. We have also companies in Egypt doing, and right now we are also have Vietnam and Indonesia going through this onboarding process. This is how the badge for the company works. They start with the welfare train badge. When they are onboarded, because they haven't done the course, they are in progress. Once the staff do the online course, they get the train badge. So they get here, instead of this, they will have a validity date. It's valid for 12 months. Then they need to do a refresher course. And once they start the using the Tilapia Welfare app, they will have here a different status, because the welfare assessed has a different status. Not started means you haven't done any assessments. When the company starts progressing and doing weekly welfare assessments on a regular basis, so weekly, they will get on our website an indication that they are progressing with their welfare assessed badge. And then they become awarded. So this means that they are committed and routinely doing welfare assessments. If they stop doing this, then their welfare badge, in terms of the assessment, will be inactive and removed. This is what happens when a company has got both badges. A welfare train badge, it means that all the members of staff that work with the animals, they did the training, and therefore they have a valid welfare train badge. If they're doing regular weekly assessments to their ponds and their animals, they have the welfare assessed awarded, which becomes blue here. I don't want to go much further with this. Just wanted to highlight that for the welfare train badge, it's just doing the online training. But for the welfare assessed badge, the app is fundamental, and Murilo will be showing you exactly how the app works and a bit of the environments. I highly recommend you all do. Let me just stop sharing here. Do the welfare. Here we go. Do the training courses, and the Tilapia Welfare app is available in Nigeria, so you should be able to do those. And Murilo, if you want to now show the Tilapia Welfare app and how to use it, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Dr. Hadi, Mohammed, and Matthew for the introductions and the presentation so far. I'll just quickly introduce myself. My name is Murilo Quintiliano. I'm an animal scientist and also COO at FAI Farms. As Sarah mentioned, I'm based in Brazil, in the south of Brazil, which is Paraná State, which is the largest tilapia production region in the country, which is kind of good for us in a way because we are working closely with farmers and the industry over here. And as Sarah said, not just in Brazil, but also in Central America, specifically in Honduras, in Egypt, with AquaVet and Dr. Hadi and all other partners over there, and Southeast Asia as well. So to go a little bit more in depth around the app itself and how you can use it as a technician or managing a farm. I'll share my screen in some of the key elements and functionalities and features of the app as well. So you can get, first of all, interested and excited about it. And I recommend you all to download. So that's the first step. So I know that most of you are now on your cell phone, so I don't expect you to be downloading it right now if you didn't do it already. But you can find the app itself both on App Store if you're using iOS or on the Google Store if you're using Android. The app is very quick and easy to install. It has support for most of the cell phones and tablets. It's possible also to use on your desktop. For example, I'm going to show you a version of use on the desktop for iOS, although I know that some computers does not allow to use the apps from Android on the Windows system. So that might be, but when the app was developed and the concept done by us, it was the tool to be used in your pocket. It was for the person who is going around the farms and people working on the day-to-day, that they can actually use it as a tool on the daily work. The first thing when you download the app, you just need to create an account. What you need is email and create a password. The password is quite tricky, so it's 12 digits with we need numbers, caps lock letters, and also symbols. That's because, as you saw, we are a certified company in terms of digital tools, and security is very important for us. And that's the first thing I would like to say. Once you create an account as a user, you are the owner of the data that you are uploading into the app. What that means is that if you are supporting a farmer or if you are working on your farmer yourself, no one but you has access to that information. And of course, you can decide to who you want to share that with. And I'll show you the sharing report feature later on. For us, that's very important. We built this app to be used by farmers, for farmers, and for technicians. And when I say technicians, I'm talking about vets, animal scientists, aquaculture technologists, or engineers. So it's for the people on the ground to be using it and get hold of the information and be able to make better decisions. Once you are into the app, that's the first screen you are going to see. Once you are in, of course, as a new account, you won't be seeing any numbers or assessments, but you're going to see those four big squares here, which shows the overall farm score. It's the green feature here on the top. You're going to be seeing start new assessments, which I'll go through in a minute. Assessments done in the last 7 days, which then you can configure to see all the assessments done in the last month or the last year or overall period. And ongoing assessments, which shows you which assessments has been started but not finalized yet. And I'll go through that for a moment. The first step you need to do is to create a production unit or to create a new farm. So here you can see the list of test farms I have. What that shows is that you can create as many farms as you want. So there is no limit to that. And each farm is a unit production unit. And within that farm, then you'll be creating your ponds or your cages or your tanks depending on the system where you are. So the first thing on creating the farm, you need a name. So let's say AquaGrad 1. You can then, of course, select the location, and privacy is very important for us. And the reason why we do not do not do it automatically. Some farms want, some farms doesn't want to do it. But for example, I'll just pick up a random place here in Lagos. So you can go and quickly choose it in there. So then you click next. The next stage is what production type, meaning that we are now configuring what type of production unit you are going to have. So you can have a breeding facility, you can have a hatchery, you can have a nursery, a grow out, or a slaughterhouse. So for this example, I'll choose grow out, but you can choose multiple ones. So if you are doing the full system, you can select it all. If you're just doing this, the reason why we do that, as Sarah and Mohammed and Dr. Hadi has mentioned, different life stages have demands different things. And the objective here is that to make it really easier and more to the point to the users in terms of the assessments that are available and the questions and the dependencies around the questions and the thresholds of the scoring systems. So grow out, for example, it's selected. Then let's say that on this farm in Lagos, it's just a pond, and I do have some cages, so you can select both. And then here you have optional metrics, which if you are a technician, I think you'd like to have those numbers within. The farmer can be, it's optional for him to put that on or not. So let's say that if I have 10 hectares of ponds of production area, and with a total of, let's say, just a random number here, 100 metric tons of annual production. Here, the new farm has been created. As I said, you're going to see 0 score because no assessments has been done. So the next stage, after you set it up, you have some options where if you are a unique person and you want to do it by yourself or to your farm, that's fine. It's done. Can you please mute yourself? Thank you. But if you can also invite colleagues. So let's imagine that you as a students or technicians, you are doing a collaborative project or managing one farm altogether. From here, you can set up your farm, but you can also invite colleagues to that farm. And then you can select if it's a technician or if it's a manager. The difference is that technicians will only be able to do and to see the assessments that they do themselves. Managers can see the overall assessments done by everything. Why that is important? That's important because, for example, if I'm setting up a company and the company has different roles within that, then I can decide who is going to be doing what. And myself as a manager, I can see all the assessments. Or if you have a consultancy company, for example, you can set up your clients, and then you can invite your clients as technicians to this farm that you have created. And once the farms do the assessments in their farm, you as the manager or the consultant will be seeing the scores and the results of those assessments within your environment. So it's a very collaborative tool. That's the main messaging here, where farmers can do it individually, technicians can do it individually, but you can create a whole system where you have multiple farms and multiple people managing and doing and assessing different farms and different production units. And the information and the data then flows into your direction. After you have downloaded and you have set up the way you like, you start to start doing an assessment, you just come here, start a new assessment, and then you start responding to the questions. Of course, it's a new farm. No pond has been created, so we are going to create a new pond. So let's say pond 1A. Let's say that this pond has 300 square meters, and here you can choose if you're going to be talking hectares, Rai, which is a production unit from Thailand, or square meters. The average depth, let's say 1.5 meters, and it's a pond. Here, the actual production unit has been created, and after you created one, it's staying in the system. So if you are going to be doing a new assessment in the future on this pond, you just go in there and select the ponds that has been created. If you are a very well-organized farmer or person, you can create all the ponds up front. You can register it all, and then when you start doing the assessments, you can go there and just select it from the start. The way we recommend people to be doing those assessments is on the day-to-day routine, and that's why we ask the assessor to select in which activity the assessment is taking place. Meaning that, for example, if you are doing a feeding, you can select feeding and do an assessment. If you are populating, you can select that. If it's a vaccination, a biometry, grading, routine observations, I'll go for a biometry, which is one of the most complete type of assessments. When I say that is because if you're doing a feeding, for example, you are not taking the fish out of the water for that. So health assessments is not an opportunity. So then you skip that action. But for biometry, is just the right opportunity to check how the condition of the fish is, and then you take that opportunity that you are already taking the fish out of the water to make a visual inspection, what you call a health assessment within there. The following step is the size of the fish. As you know, as technicians, different fish size or life stages has different requirements. Here, those thresholds are based on the overall global tilapia production size. So usually less than 0.5 grams is the larvae, or is done on the hatchery. Between 0.5 and 5 grams, years starting further on the hatching, where you have nursery. And that can go up to 20 grams if you are doing juveniles. 21 to 200 grams, it's what we call grow out, and greater than 200 grams is on the finishing stage. So let's say that our fish is between 21 grams and 200 grams. You continue, that's it. You remember when Mohammed and Sarah said about the big categories? So here we have environment, health, nutrition, and behavior. So the biometry allows you to do assessments on all of these, and now I'm going to show you how easy and fast it is to be done. So here you can see all the information we have put so far. So this is the farm, this is the pond, the species, the production stage, what activity I'm doing, and the size of the fish. So let's start with environment. The good thing about this app is that you don't need to know the scores for environment, for nutrition, and for behavior. You just need to answer the questions. So if you are doing environmental assessments, you need to measure the temperature using an adequate equipment, and that equipment will tell you what temperature it is. You can just come here and show which thresholds the fish are. So let's say it's between 25 to 32 degrees. Done. And on and on with the other indicators. So let's say, okay, I'm a good farmer. I'm still measuring my pH. I'm measuring my transparency using the SAC disc. I'm measuring the oxygen saturation using an oximeter. okay, I'm a good farmer, but I don't have all the kits. Maybe I don't know what the alkalinity is, or I didn't measure, or it's not available at this stage. So you can say, come here and say, I do not know, which for us is also an answer. What I do not know means is that it can be two things. I do not know because I don't have the equipment to measure, or I'm not measuring it currently, or I just don't even know what ammonia level is or what salinity level is. Then I'll see you how to see it, because if you don't know what ammonia is, you can come here and click on learn more. And here you can see a quick view of what ammonia, ionized ammonia means. And that can also direct you to the training courses that Sarah has just said. So it's not just an assessment and a documentation tool, but it also leads the farmer to be able to learn more and to understand what those indicators are. It's important to highlight that those indicators doesn't come from my head or Sarah's head, or it's based on science and indicators that are really, really relevant for the big categories, and in this case, for the environmental assessment. So I'll just click through all the other parameters. I'm choosing it randomly. And when we talk about environment, it's not just about the water quality. And I agree with you that water quality and the basics are one of the most important thing. But when we speak about the environment of the fish, there are more things. It's things beyond that. For example, presence of terrestrial predators or aquatic predators are important because, as you know, if you have a predator, that can cause not just the direct loss of the predator eating the fish, you have less fish in the end, but the stress that the predators cause as well affect the welfare of the fish. So that's why it goes beyond the water quality parameters. We also ask questions. Let's say, okay, there's no predators, terrestrial predators, but yes, I do have some other species of fish that are competing for food, or maybe even eating the tilapia within the pond, and there is no way I can control it. Done. The environmental assessment has been done. Here I spend some minutes doing it, but the interesting part of that is that it's actually fast and very easy for the farmers or for the technicians to do it on the pond. And here you can see we have done it all. And on the alkalinity, I have put, I don't know. You can go back in there. Okay, I have measured right now, and I got a kit, and I decided to put it. Then you just go back, then all it's done. Until you can still change the parameters in here or the numbers in here you have collected, but until you finished, but once you finished, it's done. So that now means I have completed 100% of the environmental indicator sections. So I'm going to go to the nutrition sector. First question, do you use commercial feed? Some farmers still don't. So that's why I have that question in. How many times does feeding taking place? Let's say 2 to 3 times. And then here it's a quick calculation of the percentage of biomass, as Dr. Hadi said. What is important is to have proper feed, and there are tables for feeding, but in here, we really want the farmer to get the raw information and not just tell from the top of his head because he knows now it's 2% or 3%. Actually, you need to put, let's say if I'm putting 100 kilograms of feed per day, and the total biomass of the pond, it's, let's say, 200 kilograms or 2,000 kilograms. Okay. And I believe you all know what biomass means. Biomass is just the average weight of the fish times the number of fish you believe there is on the pond. That's why it's very important that the farmer has a record of that, of mortalities and the seeding, and has a control of that through time, because every time you do the assessments, you want this to move and to be more accurate as possible. So you can also help, this app can help you to adjust the feeding parameters. So it's done. So here is the percentage of crude protein, which is very important indicator. And the feed conversion, again, feed conversion calculation. All the farmers should be able how to do it. But in the case the farmer doesn't know what feed conversion means, it can come in here and understand. Feed conversions is nothing more than the amount of feed you are delivering on the day divided by the amount of weight of fish that you have been producing so far. So that's quite easy and straightforward to be calculated. So let's say my feed conversion, it's okay. And how the feed is distributed, that's another important indicator. You're just not delivering all the feed in one point at the pond. We want the feed to be distributed to the surface. But let's say, okay, I don't know about it, so I'm putting less than 50%. K factor, that's a very good indicator. It's a reflection between the length and the weight of the fish. Some fish can be growing in length, but not getting the right body condition that they need to grow well. The K factor gives this an indication. And here you have the formula on how to calculate. This is a little bit more tricky, but you have an example here. So what you just think is the weight of the fish and the length of the fish and put into this formula. So then you can get the K factor conversion. Interesting about the K factor is that you can be overfeeding. So the fish are heavier than they would be expecting to that life stage, which is not good. You're spending more money on feed than you should, and the fish is putting more fat than muscle, which is not interesting as well. It's becoming a very expensive fish. So having the right K factor is also important. So, okay, I finished the nutrition. The behavior is the one that the training becomes really, really important. So trying to identify what a proactive, what's a reactive, or what non-behavior means. It's quite good. Proactive means that the fish are actively swimming according to the natural or closer to the natural swimming behavior, and they are looking for feed, or they are not too scared of people in the surrounds of the pond, or they are not showing themselves at all, which is, if they are too scared, that's reactive, or if they are doing nothing, it's not good as well. So then let's say, okay, the fish looks proactive. Some farms around the world, they use anesthetics to do some proceedings, usually with biometry not, but you can use anesthetics if you have it available. Let's say if you're not using it, then you go for the swimming behavior. Then you can choose between normal, excited, decreased activity, stank against net. So there are some options over there. Let's say that they are showing signs of floating on side. Okay, now we go to the health assessments, and the health assessments is really interesting because it's a visual inspection of indicators of the fish, which is based on the eyes, the jaws and the lip, the operculum, the skin, the fins, the gills, the spine, and you can visually see any ectoparasites. On the training courses that you have access to, you'll be able to see what we mean by a healthy eye or a healthy lip and jaws, what we mean as mild damage, and what do we mean by a high damage. So there are the parameters for the eyes, for example. If both of eyes are looking normal, it's healthy. If we have eyes, one eye, for example, showing signs of hemorrhagia, of ophthalmia, or if the fish is blind of one eye, that would be recognized as mild damage. And if you have both eyes or with problems, then it's a high damage. When you inspect the fish, we recommend people to train and to understand the steps and which are the indication. And then after you learn to do that and do it a couple of times, usually it takes less than 5 seconds to do a fish. We recommend it to be done on 30 fish when you are doing these assessments. People think it's too much because they believe it will take time, but usually it's going to be between 3 and 5 minutes to do the third fish. Very fast, very quick, and very easy, and can give you a really good indication of what's going on. So you just need to come here and click on what you see. 1 click is mild, 2 clicks is bad, no click is blue, means everything's okay. So let's say this fish is okay. Then I go to the next fish. Here you can see I'm on fish number 2. So I'll just go and click on next, and off you go. Usually in here, you can do it by yourself and do the scoring, or you have one person doing the assessments and someone just clicking on the app as you go. So I'll just select a few in here and go. When you get to the 20th fish, it just indicates you where you are. The minimum is 30, but you can do 50 or more if you are wanting a better sample of what's going on. But here I'm going to continue. Some few more, completely random. So we'll be able to see what happened with the score. Here, the minimum is done. You can finish the health assessment right now. Mortality is an indicator of health as well. Of course, we don't want the fish to die, but if you have high mortality rates, that means that you have a problem. And the situation here is that you don't want the high mortality to happen. So don't wait for the fish to die to figure out that you have a problem. That's why the health assessments are really important. If you're thinking about practicality, some farms do a biometry and sample ponds every 15 days. Most of farms do it at 30 days. And to be fair, most of farms doesn't do it, but I recommend it's to be done on every 30 days at last. That's very easy, very simple. Let's say, okay, less than 10% mortalities. There is no vaccination, no invasive procedures at this stage. Assessment is done. So that means that I have completed it all. When I click finished, if you are online, that means that the score is going to be automated. Sometimes because of the cloud, the score doesn't automatically appears in here. You just need to go back and come back again. Then you see the overall score. Those overall scores calculated based on the science as well. So different indicators has different weights, and those weights then will formalize on the overall score. Okay, that's the score of this assessment. So let's see what is good and what's not so good. So I can see here that the behavior score was really poor, environmental score was tolerable, and nutrition score was tolerable, and the health was really good. And that's interesting about the health is that most of the fish usually are looking all right, unless you have a very big problem, then you pick up many fish presenting many problems. So when you see that, then you'll be able to intervene. But if they appear to be mild health as well, then you start to be really looking into the detail to see what could be happening. That could be caused by bacteria, that could be a virus, that could be a poor management, that could be, then you need to investigate and act as investigators to try to understand what could be happening, or call a vet and call a technician to go in there and see what they need to do. And you can go in detail and see what behaviors are not good enough. So floating on the side, if you remember that I showed. The same with the environmental. So uncontrolled presence of competitors, that's not good. And then you can go here, nutrition. So the feed is being distributed. Although I'm delivering the right amount of feed, the feed is being distributed poorly in the pond. So then the farmer can act into that. Very easy, very simple. Once you have your report, you can come here and share, and anyone can receive the the report. You just need an email address to be able to do that. So in short, what we want and what is desirable is that people are doing these assessments on a routine with different activities. And for the badges, as Sarah mentioned, we recommend at least 10% of the production units. So if you have 10 ponds, you'll be doing the assessments at least one. If you have 2 ponds, you'll be doing at least one. If you have 100 ponds, you'll be doing the assessments at least 10 ponds. You can, if you don't have access to the internet in the side of the pond, that doesn't matter. You can still do the assessments offline, but you're only going to get the scores once you are online, because it needs the background calculation to happen for this to be going. You can do as many assessments you want, you can create as many forms as you want, and you can share the report to whoever you want, and people receive the report. It doesn't necessarily need to have the app. So the report will come by email, so you can share the report to other colleagues and to ask for support if that's needed. I really recommend you all to download the app. There is going to be new features coming in. We are adding an antimicrobial tracker feature in the next 30 days, and we are also going to be adding some other add-ons like a prescription feature on the end of the report, so people can indicate, oh, the farm was without electricity, aerators were not working, or there was a very strong rain and the water quality has changed, or the water quality meter equipment has been broken, or we don't have the reagent, so that's why. So you can be able to add, or if you are seeing too many signs of fish health, you can ask. You can type in a recommendation for the farm. For example, we have identified you should take those samples to the lab, or you should be medicating or doing activities to improve the health, and so the fish doesn't start dying and you don't lose production. So those new features are coming in, and we are adding features every month now. There will be new assessments coming in, like a success of sexual reversion, so the amount of males and females on the pond. All of those things will be adding in the next couple of months. I recommend you all to download, play with it. If you have any feedback, if you have any suggestions or any features that you believe would be really interesting for your region in Kenya, please send us our feedback, and we will be considering this for the next updates. I know that we are a little bit over time, but thank you very much, and happy to answer any questions if that's going to be the case, Matthew. But I hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really, really great overview, both from you and Sarah. So thank you so much. I think we've got time for some questions. If anyone's got any, they can either drop them in the chat or they can raise their hand and just ask the question. I'll give a minute for people to put their questions. And whilst people are writing their questions, I just want to once again thank Dr. Radi, Mohammed, Sarah, Murillo, and also Gift and the AquaGrad team for inviting everybody and helping make this webinar a success. I can't see any questions coming in, but you should all have access to. Oh, Sarah, yes.
Oh no, I was just going to say, if there are no questions, because I had a problem with my keyboard, but now it's back. I could show you how you log in to the FAI Academy, because I didn't have the chance while I was doing it. And maybe while I do it, maybe some people can have some questions. Don't know. That's okay?
Yeah, okay. That sounds good.
Let me share then, because I did mention that everyone here has been registered to a course that contains not only this webinar, but also online courses that you can do at your own leisure, at your own time, on mobile. And you have received an email with access details and telling you that you've been enrolled to these courses. So once you need to, the first thing you need to do is in the email where it tells you your passwords, just copy that passwords and then log in. There is a link to the login page, which looks like this. These are my details. I've added my passwords. And if you go through this, for me, it has happened today. Usually doesn't happen often. You go directly to your learning area. So this is your FA Academy. In this case, I have these courses that I'm attending. Actually, I've completed the Tilapia Welfare and Practice, which is the one, the Foundations in Digital Tools AquaGrad is the one you've been registered to. I've completed it so that you can see where things happen, where you can find your certificates. You can click, in your case, you won't have completed it, but you will have completed today. You will have the webinar, it will be completed and you will get a certificate. The next one you can have access, this goes in a sequence, is the Tilapia Welfare Indicators Foundation course for all. You click on this and then you can access learning. Because I've already completed it, I can view my certificates. This is my certificate. The certificates, once you complete, by the way, they're all on My Learning. When you click on My Learning, this tab, it opens Learning, which is where your courses are. And you can also have access to the achievements, and achievements is where all your certificates live. You can share, once you get the certificate, you can share the page. So you can share on WhatsApp the page as a link, or you can download as a PDF. And you can download if it is available. In this case, it's in English. For some courses, if you do the course in another language, you could download the course on your own language and also the English version. So let's go back to My Learning, where I have the course that I've completed. In this case, the course that you all have been, we call it a learning path because it's based, it has in it different courses. The first one being the webinar. The second one is the foundations, which is only 1 hour. To be able to access the learning, you click on the green button saying access learning. It may take a few seconds to load the course because I'm also showing it on Teams. It takes a bit longer. And this is what it looks like. It's on the left-hand side, you have this, that is basically a bookmark, like chapters that you can see. I've done a bit of this first chapter. It may have some videos for you to look at. It also has questions. You can see here there are a few questions, and it will, as you can see, there are all these different lessons. So for instance, if I go there for the scoring fish welfare indicators, there is as Murilo said, it's important to go through the course because you have videos. And you can see in this case, it's a feeding, the fish here are feeding, and you can see their behavior. You can also then, you have several questions along the way. And this, for instance, is a matching exercise that you need to, you also have a booklet, by the way. This course has a booklet that will have all the welfare indicators that you can print and will allow you to also answer this question. So it's a combination of the online course and the handbook that we provide to you. This is again a different activity. It's a matching activity that you need to see. Okay, this is definitely not the best feeding, the frequency for nursery. This is at grow out, and then if you get it right, you can carry on. It will tell you what is the ideal feed for nursery in this case. So this is basically the outcome of this exercise, but in a table format. So it has lots of information. You can do it on a mobile. It should be fairly straightforward. Here you can actually see someone doing a health assessment. So it has this video that illustrates, in this case, the fish as a spinal. As you can see, there is a deformity in the spine that you can clearly see, and you see a farmer assessing the eyes, the fins, is looking at the fins to see there is a bit, as you can see, they're a bit fragmented here. And of course, the most noticeable thing that we can immediately see here is the spinal curve. They'll also check the gills, so you'll need to take the periculum a bit away so you can really properly assess the gills and see if they're looking healthy. And after you look at the fish and you learn how to recognize the welfare scores, you will actually go through an exercise of how to do all this, and you have a final quiz. Once you do the final quiz and you pass, I guess it's 80% score, you will get a certificate for this course. As I said, you can navigate through here. So for instance, you will need to complete all of the license to be able to get certificates and complete the quiz, but you can navigate in the different lessons. If you prefer to check at animal welfare beyond ethics, for instance, chapter, you can skip them. You close here, you go back to where you were. Because I've just completed here this course, and once you complete it, you can go to the next course. The next course is Tilapia Health. And again, you will have a button for access learning. These are the materials that I mentioned. You will always have to download the paper. As Murilo said, this is not based on any opinion or judgment or any kind of ideology. This is based on solid science. So these indicators are based on this specific paper, which is a combination of a deeper research, as I mentioned before. And then you have the PDF of this manual. So basically, we have a PDF version of all the online contents. You have also the link to download the Tilapia Welfare app. And then you have a scorecards and book. This is what I mentioned. It's very useful for you to print this because it will have a quick fact sheet that you can easily go through and see the score 1, 2, and 3. Not only for the health, in this case it's the health, you can clearly see the jaw. Here, this one has a huge deformity that compromises the feeding behavior. And you can also here see the gills, score 3, very splitted, very much splitted, but you also have a table with, in this case, you can see the different production stages, what should be the temperature, score 1, ideal, 2, and 3. Of course, you don't need to memorize any of this because if you're using the app, as Murilo showed you, there will be these intervals. You just need to measure the temperature and then you select the interval that is shown on the app, and the app automatically will tell you in the end what was the score. As I said, you can download the PDF here. It tells you the size of the PDF. And once you finish, you can go back, for instance. This will take you back to the initial learning path because this is a full learning path containing, in this case, 6 courses, 7 actually, with the webinar. And then if you want to check your achievements are the certificates. This is the ones by being here today. During the webinar, you will get a certificate. Once we finish this, I will make sure that you get this certificate on your achievements area. So please, by all means, go once we finish this webinar. I would highly recommend to do 2 things: download the Tilapia Welfare app and log into your FAI Academy, check your certificates, and check the next courses for you to do. You can also have access to other courses. You don't need just to do the tilapia, of course, if it's your main interest, but there are also shrimp courses. So you have the shrimp course here. You have terrestrial animal courses. Some are free, some are paid. So you have an introduction to regen dairy free, for instance, and also in different languages. You can choose your language here. And then you can also have more information about the hubs. So if you want to, everything that I mentioned about the Tilapia Hub is also here. All the information, the welfare badges that I showed you, the companies that have already completed, and they are mentioned here. You can search by country. So within this platform, you have access to everything that we've been discussing. So I highly recommend to go ahead as soon as you finish and download the Tilapia Welfare app and log in to the FAI Academy and your learning area. So that's it from me. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew, for this section. Thank you all for staying a bit longer. I hope this will be useful. And if you have any questions, meanwhile, one thing, we will make sure that this will be available, by the way. Once you go back to your webinar, if you go to FAI Academy, if you click on the webinar, you will have access to the videos of this webinar. I will probably divide them into the 4 different sessions, so you'll have links to each of the videos. But I will also send you an email to let you know once they become available. It will probably not be today for the video webinars because we need to edit them and upload it. But by tomorrow, we should be able to have them on your webinar on FAI Academy. But now it's all. Thank you, Matthew. And all.
Thank you so much. There's just one question, which is that for people that weren't able to attend today, or even for people who did attend, is there space for them to post their questions online to get answered?
We can find a way to do that. I'll try to find a way to do that. If they can, I believe people can still ask questions here. I'll need to double check if it's possible to do it here on Teams once this finished. Try to do that. If not, we'll try to find a way.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think that's all the questions for now. So thank you to all of the participants as well for staying and giving all of the wonderful speakers the attention that they deserve. And with that, I will say goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your day. And once again, a big thank you to everybody who was involved in this webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.